I sent my oldest daughter to boarding school because my youngest needed me more. 2 years later, I brought her home, but she was cold, angry, and refused to bond with her sister. When she started picking fights, I called her jealous and grounded her. Then she ran away, and I took in a foster teen to show her how family should act. Now my youngest won't speak to me, and I'm starting to realize I broke the wrong child. I know the title sounds bad, but I don't think I'm a terrible mother. At least I didn't think I was until recently. I've been trying to hold my family together for years, and somewhere along the way, it feels like I lost both of my daughters in different ways. My husband Xavier and I have 2 girls. Stella is 17, Jackie is 14. Xavier travels a lot for work, so most of the parenting has always fallen on me. When the girls were little, things were good. Stella was outspoken and curious, always asking questions, always challenging me. Jackie was quieter, more sensitive. When she was younger, she used to cry easily. Loud noises, arguments, even someone raising their voice would send her running to her room. As the years went on, Stella became harder to handle. She questioned every rule, every decision, and made everything into a debate. Jackie started struggling with anxiety and was diagnosed around age 10. The therapist said we needed to create a calm environment for her. I took that to heart. I tried to protect Jackie from anything that could trigger her. Unfortunately, that included Stella. Stella's attitude got worse after that. She said I was taking sides and that I didn't care about her feelings. I thought she was just being dramatic. When she started skipping homework and slamming doors, I felt like I had no choice but to get stricter. It didn't help. Every day turned into a fight. Eventually, I started to believe that Stella was part of the reason Jackie couldn't progress in therapy. Every session seemed to circle back to how much tension there was at home. I felt trapped between 2 daughters who couldn't be in the same room without one crying and the other yelling. That's when I made the decision to send Stella to boarding school. It wasn't punishment, at least not in my mind. I told myself it was for her own good, that it would give her structure and space to grow, while also giving Jackie peace at home. Xavier wasn't thrilled, but he didn't fight me. I handled the paperwork, visited the campus, and convinced Stella it would be an opportunity, not a rejection. The first few months after she left, the house was calm. Jackie seemed happier, more relaxed. She started smiling again, and her therapist said she was making progress. For the first time in years, I thought I had done the right thing. Stella came home for short visits during holidays, and I convinced myself things were fine. She was polite, but distant. I chalked it up to normal teenage moodiness. I never noticed how much she had changed until she came back permanently 2 years later. From the day she returned, Stella was cold. She barely spoke to me or Xavier, and she avoided Jackie completely. I tried to act normal by cooking her favorite meals, asking about school, but she kept her answers short and never looked at me. If Jackie entered the room, Stella would leave. If I asked her to join us for dinner, she'd make up excuses to eat in her room. I told myself she just needed time to readjust, but things got worse. She would roll her eyes whenever I tried to get the girls to spend time together, and if I pushed it, it would end in a shouting match. She said Jackie was spoiled, that she got away with everything, that I treated her like glass. I told her she was being cruel and jealous. I really believed that at the time. After one especially bad argument, Stella packed a bag and left. She was gone for 2 days before I found out she was staying with a friend's family. I was terrified something had happened to her. When I picked her up, she wouldn't speak a word to me. She got in the car, stared out the window the whole way home, and went straight to her room. I tried to reset things after that. I thought maybe she just needed to see what love and stability looked like again. Around that time, I came across a local foster program that was looking for temporary placements. They needed families for short-term stays, and I thought it might be good for everyone. I truly believed it could bring some perspective into our house, maybe even remind Stella what family means. We took in a teenage girl named Amber, who had been in and out of the system for most of her life. She was polite, easygoing, and grateful for everything. She didn't complain, she helped around the house, and she got along with Jackie instantly. I can't lie, it felt refreshing. Stella, on the other hand, hated it. She barely acknowledged Amber's existence. If I praised Amber for something, Stella would roll her eyes or leave the room. It turned into tension all over again. I told Stella that maybe seeing how respectful Amber was could teach her a thing or two about gratitude. I thought I was teaching her a life lesson. Looking back, I think that was the last real conversation we ever had. Things slowly spiraled after that. Stella started spending all her time in her room or outside the house. Jackie became quiet again, which I blamed on Stella's negativity. One night, Stella came home late, and I lost it. I told her she was acting jealous and selfish, and that I was done with her attitude. I grounded her for the weekend. She didn't say a word, just went upstairs and slammed her door. The next morning, she was gone. Her closet was empty. I checked everywhere: school, friends' houses, the bus station. Eventually, one of her classmates texted Jackie and said Stella was staying with another friend across town. I called her and told her she needed to come home. She didn't argue, and she just came home like nothing happened and went straight to her room again. I didn't know what else to do. I thought I had already done everything possible to give her love and support. I made the decision to keep Amber with us longer. I said it was to help her transition to a new placement, but deep down, I think I wanted her there because she brought peace back into the house. Now the peace is gone again. Jackie barely talks to me. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if Stella just refuses to let go of her resentment. Update 1. It's been a few weeks since I wrote my original post. After Stella started spending more time away from the house, I told myself she just needed space, that she'd calm down and come back around like she always did. But that didn't happen. She stopped coming home altogether about a week after I posted. At first, I thought she was staying late at a friend's place again, but then I found out she'd been living with a family friend named Rachel, whose daughter she used to be close with before she went to boarding school. When I reached out to Rachel, she said Stella was fine and safe, but didn't want to come home right now. I couldn't believe how easily someone else was just letting her stay there without even checking with me first. It felt like everyone was working against me. I called Stella and told her she was running away again, that this wasn't how you solve problems. She hung up before I could finish. I remember sitting there for a few minutes staring at my phone, trying to figure out what I did wrong this time. Jackie's attitude has also changed. She's not the same sweet kid she used to be. She's quieter but in a cold, detached way. She spends most of her time in her room and barely looks at me. If I ask about school or her therapy, she gives short answers or says she's fine. I know she's been talking to Stella because she started acting differently after that. It's like Stella is turning her against me. Amber, our foster daughter, has been the only one holding the house together lately. She's polite, helps with chores, and actually talks to me. I've been trying to focus on her and Jackie to make sure they still feel stability, but even that started changing too. One afternoon I overheard Amber crying in her room. She was on the phone with her caseworker, saying she felt like a replacement. I didn't understand what she meant at first. I went in and asked her what was wrong, but she said she was just having a rough day. I told her I was proud of her, that she was setting a good example, and that I appreciated how mature she was being. I thought that would reassure her, but her face just fell. Later that night, Jackie snapped at me during dinner. She said I only like people who make me feel good about myself and that I never actually listen to anyone. I was stunned. I told her she was being rude and disrespectful, and I sent her to her room. I grounded her later that evening for talking back. It felt like déjà vu, the same fights I used to have with Stella all over again. A few days later, I found out from one of my neighbors that Stella has been working part-time at some cafe in town. I didn't even know she had a job. The neighbor also said she's been saving up money to move in with my sister, Caroline. That was news to me because Caroline and I haven't spoken in nearly 2 years. We fell out after she told me I was being too controlling with Stella's schooling and therapy choices. I haven't trusted her since. The idea that Stella would go to her someone who undermined me for years made me furious. I didn't even think. I just drove straight to Caroline's house. When I got there, Stella answered the door. She looked older somehow, more closed off. I told her we needed to talk, but she didn't let me in. She just said she was fine and didn't want to come home. I kept asking why she was doing this, and before I knew it, Caroline appeared behind her. She told me to leave, that I wasn't welcome there. She said Stella had a safe place now and didn't need my chaos. I don't even remember the drive home. I just remember sitting in my car outside the house crying because I felt like my own sister and daughter had teamed up to make me the villain. I couldn't understand how everything got so twisted. I tried to do what was best for everyone, and somehow I ended up being the problem. Xavier has been home a bit more lately, but even he's been distant. He says he doesn't want to get in the middle of the tension between me and the girls. I told him he already is in the middle, whether he likes it or not. He said maybe Stella just needs time and space to figure things out. I feel like that's easy for him to say. He wasn't the one trying to hold this house together while he was away for work all the time. The last straw was yesterday. I came home early and overheard Jackie on the phone telling Stella that she's thinking of staying with Aunt Caroline for a while too. I walked into her room and asked what she was talking about. She said she's tired of feeling like she can't breathe in this house. I told her she was being dramatic and that she was just letting Stella fill her head with nonsense. She yelled that Stella was right, that I only love people when they act like I want them to. Then she slammed her door in my face. Right now, I feel like I've lost control of everything. Update 2. Stella posted something online about me along the lines of accusing me of abandoning her. I found out through one of the people who go to my church, so I tried calling her. She didn't answer. I texted her and said we needed to talk about what she'd done and that she needed to take the post down before it caused more damage. She never replied. The next day I showed up at her workplace. I know I shouldn't have, but I was desperate to talk to her face to face. She was working at the cafe near the high school. I waited for her shift to end and tried to talk to her outside. She refused. She just stood there, looking at me like I was a stranger. I told her she was humiliating our entire family, and that this wasn't how adults handled conflict. She said she'd tried talking to me for years and that this was the only way she could finally be heard. That made me so angry I lost it. I told her she was being cruel and selfish, that she was making up a sob story for attention. After that, everything went downhill fast. Amber's caseworker came by for a check-in and asked if she'd been feeling safe at home. I didn't think much of it until she told me that Amber had mentioned feeling pressured and emotionally confused lately. I was stunned. I thought things were fine between us. The next week, her caseworker called again and said Amber would be moving to another placement. Just like that, no warning. They said the environment wasn't stable for her emotional well-being. I felt blindsided. I'd opened my home, treated her like my own, and this was how it ended, another person walking away like I'd failed them. When Amber left, Jackie shut down completely. She stopped eating dinner with me and barely left her room. Xavier came home from one of his work trips and said maybe we all needed some space. He said I was too focused on controlling the situation instead of understanding it. I told him he was part of the problem for always running away when things got hard. That turned into a screaming match. He ended up packing a bag and going to stay with a friend for a few weeks. A few days later, Jackie didn't come home after school. I called the school, her friends, even the police, thinking she'd gone missing. Turns out she was with Aunt Caroline. She'd left a note saying she needed a break. That same night, Xavier called and said I needed to stop. He said he'd already spoken to Caroline and the girls, and that I was making things worse by showing up and demanding explanations. He told me I needed to leave them alone. I told him he was betraying me, and that I was the only one still trying to hold this family together. I went to Caroline's the next day anyway. She didn't open the door, she just yelled from inside that I was not welcome, and that the girls were finally safe. I stood there knocking for 10 minutes before one of the neighbors came out and told me to leave. The following week, Xavier came by to pick up some of Jackie's clothes. He said Stella's post had gotten back to some of his coworkers, and that people were asking questions about our family. He said we were becoming a spectacle, and that he was done fighting. Since then, I've been alone in this house. It's quiet in a way that doesn't feel peaceful. Every room reminds me of someone who's gone, and it's depressing. Update 3. I haven't spoken to Stella or Jackie since my last post. Xavier's still living apart from me, and at this point, I don't even know if we're still a couple or just two people with shared history. He doesn't answer when I call unless it's about something practical, like bills or paperwork. Everyone keeps saying I should focus on myself, but that feels like code for give up. I'm not wired that way. I can't just stop trying. At first I tried doing what everyone said: therapy, journaling, self-reflection. I even found a family therapist who specialized in estrangement. She wanted me to talk about my childhood, how I was raised, all that stuff that's supposed to explain why I act the way I do. But every session felt like a test I was failing. She'd say things like, "You can't rebuild relationships through control," and I'd sit there wondering what she even meant. I wasn't trying to control anyone, I was trying to help them, to keep everyone from falling apart. After the third session, she told me maybe I should focus on acceptance instead of reconciliation. I didn't go back after that. I left feeling like she was siding with Stella. I couldn't handle the silence at home. Every room was heavy with it. I started volunteering at a community youth program, mostly tutoring, mentoring, helping teens who didn't have a lot of support. I told myself I was doing something good, something that proved I could still be the kind of mother who made a difference. That's where I met Tessa, 16, sharp, sarcastic, the kind of kid who acted like nothing could touch her. She reminded me of Stella right away. I think that's why I got attached. We talked a lot after sessions. She'd hang around after everyone left, telling me bits about her foster homes, about how she never really felt like anyone wanted her. It broke my heart. I started bringing her snacks, small gifts, nothing huge, just little things that made her smile. It felt good. For the first time in months, I felt needed again. When she called me her favorite adult, I felt something I hadn't in a long time, like I mattered. I told Xavier about her once over text, and he told me to be careful. He said I had a pattern of trying to fix kids who didn't want saving. That stung. I ignored it. Over time, Tessa started calling me outside of the program. At first, it was just small stuff, asking for advice, talking about her day. Then she started calling me mom, half jokingly. I laughed it off, but I didn't stop her. It filled a space that had been empty for too long. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have. I took her shopping one weekend, bought her some clothes, took her out for lunch, posted a few photos online. Nothing crazy, just a picture of us with the caption, "My heart is healing again." I thought it was harmless. A week later, I got a call from Aunt Caroline. She was furious. She said Stella had seen the photos and had a breakdown. I didn't believe it at first, but then Caroline said Stella had been hospitalized after what she called a panic spiral. She told me I needed to stop inserting myself into their lives. She said, "You can't fix what you broke by replacing it." I tried going to the hospital anyway. They wouldn't let me see her. The nurse said Stella had refused visitors. Caroline was there, waiting in the hallway. She told me to leave before she called security. I did. After that, I went into panic mode. I started thinking maybe if I could just get Jackie to talk to me, things could still turn around. I went to her school during lunch one day. I figured she'd see I was trying, that I still cared. When she saw me, she froze. Then she started crying, not from happiness, from panic. One of her teachers had to walk her out of the cafeteria. Later that day, I got a call from Xavier. He said I was scaring the girls. He said if I kept showing up uninvited, he'd have to get the courts involved. He even said the word restraining order. I couldn't believe it. Against me? Their mother? I told him he was overreacting, but he said he'd already spoken to someone about it. That night, I called Tessa. I just needed to talk to someone. She said she'd gotten pulled from the program temporarily because her social worker wanted to review some boundaries. I didn't understand what that meant until I got a call from the volunteer coordinator the next morning. They said there'd been a report about me that I was showing unhealthy attachment patterns and crossing professional lines. They told me I couldn't come back. That hit me how far gone I'd gotten. I was trying so hard to prove I wasn't the monster everyone said I was that I became exactly that. I kept reaching for something that didn't exist anymore. I wanted my daughters to see me as someone worth loving again, but all they saw was the person who broke them in the first place. Final update. It's been a little over a year since I last wrote. After everything that happened with Tessa, the volunteer program, and the fallout with my daughters, I hit a point where I couldn't deny it anymore. I'd lost everyone. Xavier moved out for good a few months after the incident at Jackie's school. The restraining order never happened, but it didn't need to. The message was clear. They didn't want me near them, and Xavier said he wouldn't let me do any more damage. He filed for divorce that summer. I didn't fight it. I think part of me knew it was overdue. Therapy actually stuck this time. I go every week. The first few months, all I did was talk about my daughters like I was still living in the middle of it. My therapist called it looping. She said I was replaying everything, trying to find a version where it ended differently. It took me a long time to understand that there isn't one. Stella's in college now. Aunt Caroline called me around her birthday to tell me she'd moved into a dorm and was studying art. She said Stella was doing well, keeping to herself mostly, but she seemed happier. Jackie and Stella haven't reached out much. Xavier sends updates sometimes. He doesn't have to, but I think he knows I still care, even if I don't have the right to. Jackie's been doing therapy too, and she's applying for a youth psychology program next year. Tessa was placed with a new family after everything that happened. I haven't heard from her since, and I don't expect to. I hope she's doing better. I think about her often, but I try not to frame it like a loss anymore. She was never mine to begin with, and that's the part I understand now. I can love people and still know they don't belong to me. I've spent so much of my life trying to prove I'm a good mother. I thought if I just tried hard enough, people would see that everything I did came from love. But love isn't always good. It can be smothering, suffocating, even selfish. I wish I'd learned that before it cost me my family. There are days when I still want to call Stella or Jackie just to hear their voices. I stop myself every time. They deserve peace. They deserve space from me. And I think, finally, I'm starting to understand what it means to give that to them.